I've read and heard of many people that finally achieve their dream, their goals for their life. I've heard of them when they're finished, going back to the place where they started. Because you realize that everything you needed during your journey, during your process, the work that you had within you the entire time. We also realize that we never got to choose or say how long our work would take, how long, how many hours, days, weeks, years that it would take to complete our product, our journey, our destiny, God's will for our life. I knew my entire life, I felt it, and all the things that happened to me, the people I met, they all were a lead up. I began really preparing for my work, for this period of time where I was going to focus solely all my energy, all of me, all of my mental power on finishing my product, my destiny, the reason that I'm here. Depending on where you're at, if you look at everything that's happened to you in your life, the things you're good at, the things you're bad at, the people you've met, the women or men that you've dated, how those relationships went, when you felt fulfilled, when you felt empty, what jobs you liked, which ones you hated, which ones you're still working, the way you were raised, your parents, even your name. It all has purpose in it. It's all for a reason, and it's all been long in the making. Because you are here and needed those skills and needed your life to be that way, and you needed to be around those people and experience what you did to do what you're here to do, and do it like nobody else can or ever will, because you are the only one that can do it. You know what it is, you feel it in your heart, whether you want to admit that or not. And at some point you're going to have to face, we all get to a point in life, we don't get to really decide what point that is, where we feel it, our intuition telling us it's now or never. When that time came for me, and I knew it was coming, I'd been preparing for it, I have to admit, I became terrified and depressed, confused, because I knew what was required, and I was afraid, and I didn't want to give up my comfort. I didn't want to give up the people around me. I didn't want to give any of it up. But stepping away from it to focus all of me, that was required to finish Dreamer and make it as wonderful as I've made it. Looking back, I don't and will never regret that decision. What I would have regretted is lying in my deathbed with my heart about to go out, regretting that I never faced my fear, that I never achieved and left behind a legacy of the whole reason and everything that happened and all the people I met and loved, that I never fulfilled the purpose behind all of that. The gift that I was supposed to give the world. Because all that matters, all that anyone cares about once we're gone, is what did you do for the world while you were here? Who did you help? What did you make better? What did you invent? What did you fix? Who did you teach? Who did you bless? Who did you influence? And was it good? That all depends on how we look at the world. One of my favorite quotes, when you change the way you look at things, the things you're looking at change. There's only two ways you could look at the world around you. You could look at it as hostile, or you can look at it as friendly. And the best thing you can do, as far as the way you look at the world and the people and the things around you, is to become a paranoid. What's called an inverse paranoid, which means that you suffer from a paranoia that everything in the world, every event and experience and person and thing and place is out to help you. Growing up, I've had friends who've gotten in trouble at some point with the law or police or something like that. Nothing serious, but they changed dramatically because after the experience they became paranoid that, police were after them or they're in trouble. They became anxious and looking behind them, over their back. And it's stressful. It was hard for me to even be around them sometimes. When I think about the opposite of that, if they had been an inverse paranoid, if they were paranoid about the world and everything and me, their friends, out to help them, bless them, and give them things, I would say that would be accurate. They would be right. And looking at the world in that way suits you and me the best before I began my work, which at the time was highly inspired by a woman that I loved because I wanted loyalty and commitment from her. But how could I get that if I couldn't provide for her in all the ways that she needed and wanted to be provided for? I'm a traditional type of guy, and so I came to a point where I realized if I want this, if I want to be with this person, I have to be able to offer what this person is going to need if I want to be in a long-term committed relationship and be by this person's side for a long time. People love Apple, Steve Jobs, iPhones, including me. And when you ask or think about why is Apple so great, why is Steve Jobs such a legend, a visionary? Because it took Steve Jobs years and years and years of working on Apple and their operating system every day for years and years and years. And that's why you don't get viruses on your Mac. Because there were years and years and years spent by a person and persons to make Apple products, their operating system, and their code best it could be. And there were years spent in protecting that code. And that is why you don't get viruses on your Mac, your Android, your operating system. It's because you're using a product, whenever you use an Apple product, that years and years were spent making. So now that I can relate in the sense of spending years and years and years every day, sometimes 3 days straight, creating my product, Dreamer, I understand that if you want to make an amazing product, if you want to change the world, if you want to fulfill your destiny, it takes years and years and years. You can't rush it. But some of those years are needed just to figure out what you need to do what you want to do. Dreamer removes those years. My years were spent removing your years. Time is our greatest asset. Dreamer is available in the summer of 2018, and just by buying the product alone, putting it into whatever device you like to use to create and design and build or sustain your business, you've gained years on your life. You're going to be able to do things no one else can do or has ever seen. and your business, you're going to experience massive growth with very little effort. And it's going to be awesome. I thank you for calling American Military Supplies. We are on the other line, or we are not available at the moment. Please leave a message with your name and a phone number so I can get back to you, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you very much for calling. Bye-bye. Remember, you can visit our website at
They'll look at me like I'm some kind of magician because I did indeed give them everything they needed, and they're so thankful, but at the same time they can't believe that somebody that quickly could give them all the tools and the things that they need to do whatever it is they wanted to do without even knowing them. Same time, you can't help someone or people in a situation or get somewhere if you haven't been there yourself, especially if you can't meet them at where they're at and relate to where they're at, know where they're at, and be able to say, I know how to get you to the next level.